What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 weapons in Black Ops 3 after the most recent patch. Now, the most recent patch has been one of the biggest changes to the meta of Black Ops 3. Now, if you don't know what the meta is, it's basically how people play the game, what weapons they're using, and the general overall feel of the multiplayer game in Black Ops 3. And with the most recent patch, I think it's changed more than we've seen ever before, and there's definitely going to be a lot of guns on the list that I'm about to give you that you may not expect to be there. There's some of them that have been there throughout the whole game, but some of them that are kind of come from left field and are just here, and you definitely want to try them out. So I have to preface this because every time I make a top 5 guns video, people come out in mobs and disagree with me, which is completely okay. There's a certain part of a top 5 weapons video that's going to be 100% based on feel, and what I suggest is if you disagree with my top 5 weapons, go ahead in the comment section below and just write what your 5 favorite weapons are. I'm going to be reading all the comments in this video, so just write down below, like, 1, this is my favorite gun, 2, this is my second favorite gun, that kind of thing, and I would really be interested to see what it is, because with Black Ops 3, the weapons are so balanced in this game that it's kind of hard to figure out which ones are the top 5, but I've broken it down with my feel of the weapons and also a bunch of different stats to decide which weapons are the best. But guys, if you enjoy this kind of video and you want to see more of this kind of thing, maybe top 5 score streaks, maybe top 5 perks, attachments, that kind of thing, it would be fantastic if you could leave a like rating. Let's see if we can get this video over 2,000 likes. That would be fantastic, and I'd love you guys very much for it. But without further ado, let's get into talking about the top 5 weapons in Black Ops 3 after the patch. So first, before we get into this, I'd like to give out 2, I guess, honorable mentions to weapons that don't really deserve to be on this list, but are definitely the best in class. The first goes out to the Broccoli gun, aka the Brecci. Now, this weapon is a spammy shotgun. It's really the only way I can describe it. The Broccoli gun makes it so it's super easy to use. You don't have to aim down sights. There's really no skill based on aim. You just spam your shots and hope one of the pellets hits your target. You don't have to be a good player to succeed with this weapon. In fact, I think this is definitely the easiest weapon to use in the game, and that's why I'm adding it as an honorable mention. It's not a weapon you're going to be the best in the game with. It's just super easy to use. On top of that, another one kind of in the same area of that is the Dingo. The Dingo doesn't have the best time to kill. It doesn't have the best reload time. It doesn't have the best really of any stats, but overall it has just really decent stats and is definitely one of the best weapons in the game in hardcore, but in core isn't quite as good, but is definitely one of the best, if not the best LMG in the game. So I just like to add those in. Those are weapons I use, but I don't think are the top 5. So let's actually get into the top 5. Coming in at number 5 this week, we personally have my favorite weapon on this list. Why isn't it higher on the list then? Well, the stats just really don't support that, and that's the KN-44. The KN-44 has this middle-of-the-road time to kill, with a middle-of-the-road rate of fire, with a middle-of-the-road damage profile. It's just really average with this super predictable recoil, which makes it incredibly easy to use, and in the hands of most will perform very well. But for me, looking at the stats, every other weapon on this list is going to outgun it as far as time to kill goes. So because of that, it can't be number 1 on the list. It can't be number 3 on the list. It's got to be number 5. However, this is a very good weapon, and when coupled with high caliber, it's going to be that much better. And for every assault rifle on this list, you're going to want to listen to that advice. High caliber is just going to make the time to kills on all of these weapons that much better, and the KN-44 is definitely one of the best weapons in the game, and that's why it's at number 5 this week. So number 4 is going to be the most shocking on the list, hands down the most shocking, and it is the FFAR. This weapon with the most recent patch is incredibly good, and in fact, when this supply drop weapon came out, it was good to begin with. It had a really good time to kill with a really fast fire rate with a decent damage profile, and that's kind of where the claim to fame of the FFAR was, but it had some really bad stats. It had really uncontrollable recoil, and on top of that, it also had a really long reload speed, and with the most recent patch, they kind of fixed the reload speed, but they really fixed the recoil. This weapon is very controllable, especially if you throw a grip on there, or even just a boa sight. It makes this weapon a lot more controllable, and is very very easy to control. So because of that, that's good time to kill is now usable, and from 17.5 meters to 50 meters, which is the range that you're going to be getting into most of your assault rifle fights, you're going to be outgunning the KN-44, and that is why it appears higher on this list than the KN-44. It's incredibly good, and if you're lucky enough to get this weapon through supply drops, you'll know exactly what I mean. And also, there is still a good amount of recoil on this weapon, but if you throw high caliber on the FFAR, you will just get headshot after headshot after headshot, because with the type of recoil, high caliber is just going to give you one less of a bullet of a kill, and the recoil brings that gun right up to that head. It's so easy to get headshots with it. So if you have this weapon and you haven't given it a shot, definitely try. And this is the weapon you want to be looking for in supply drops. It's one of the best weapons in the game now, hands down. So at number 3, we now have the old number 1. We've got the VMP. Now this weapon has a really good time to kill at every range, but with the most recent patch, it was actually nerfed, so it has a little bit more recoil. And I say a little bit because there wasn't a ton of recoil added to this weapon. It wasn't like the original Vesper nerf where it was just all of a sudden like jumping up to the ceiling as soon as you fired a bullet. There's a lot of recoil with this weapon, but it's controllable, and at almost every range you're looking at one of the best time to kills in the game. However, between 12.5 meters and 50 meters, the FFAR actually outguns the VMP. You're going to want to stick to those short ranges against most weapons. For the most part though, even at mid-range, you're still able to outgun people. But you're gonna find out through the next 2 weapons that this is just no longer the best weapon in the game with that recoil nerf. So it's good, but it's just not the best weapon in the game anymore. So one of the problems with Black Ops 3 is that as soon as an assault rifle has a better time to kill than an SMG, it's almost always just gonna be better than the SMG because of the attachment high caliber. Because as soon as you throw on high caliber, you're gonna drop that time to kill by getting one headshot by so ridiculously much. And with this next weapon, it goes to an even more extreme case, and it's the M8A7. The M8A7 actually has a better time to kill than the VMP at every single range. It doesn't matter where you are on the map. If you land your bullets with the M8A7, you will kill someone faster than a VMP, which is insane considering this is an assault rifle. So even up close, you will outgun that VMP. So with the M8A7, it's incredibly important to land your bullets though, because it's a burst fire weapon, and you're going to find that the better a player is, the better they will be with an M8, because you need to be that much more accurate. Now there is a better assault rifle that has a better time to kill at every range, and it's the XR2, except the XR2 is a lot less consistent for 2 reasons. First of all, it has a longer burst delay, so the amount of time between bursts is going to be much longer, which is going to cause a slower time to kill for most gunfights in the long run, because if you miss one bullet with the XR2, you're all of a sudden looking at a 2 burst kill instead of a 1 burst kill. Whereas the M8A7 has a super short burst delay, especially for any burst weapon in any Call of Duty game. On top of that, the XR2 has a lot more recoil. In fact, the M8A7 has almost no recoil, which makes pulling off fast burst after burst after burst fires incredibly easy in any gunfight. And that's why it creates a distinct skill gap where you have to be good and land your bullets, but at the same time is easy enough to use for all players. And this super fast time to kill is able to beat most SMGs at every single range, which is amazing. And on top of that, you can throw on high caliber and make it so that at every single gunfight, if you get one headshot, you're going to drop that bullets to kill, making it even easier to get a 1 burst kill. So this weapon overall is just incredibly good, and now that the VMP is less accurate, this one is even better because it's super accurate and still has that fast time to kill. Guess who is back?
Guess who's back? Back again.
Guess who's back at the number 1 weapon in the game? It is the Vesper, and let me tell you, it is not even close. So with the most recent patch, if you didn't know, they buffed the recoil on the Vesper, and they buffed it to a huge extent, almost to the extent that it was at the very beginning of this game when everyone was saying the Vesper was the best gun in the game. But there is a very distinct reason why the Vesper is so damn good that a lot of people just don't know. At every single range in the game, even at long range, as far as you can be across the map, the Vesper dominates in the time to kill department. Of course, sniper rifles and one-shot shotguns will beat it. However, other than that, the Pharaoh is the only weapon that can beat it up to 6.25 meters. Anything after that, it is better. And you may be wondering, how can an SMG with such a low damage profile have the best time to kill at a long range over something like the Man of War or something like the Shiva? And it's simple. It's the fact that with this weapon, it has such a fast fire rate at 1200 RPM. It's so much higher than any other weapon in the game. And with this fact, it makes it so that across a map, you can drop someone faster than any assault rifle, which is just silly. Now, when they make it so that this weapon has such little recoil, it's actually possible to get those kills across the map. It just isn't fair. And again, you're going to find that people with better aim are going to do better with this weapon, because it still does have recoil, but it's really controllable recoil now. Especially if you throw on a grip on there, it is definitely a weapon you can control that recoil with. So I'm going to suggest, if you haven't tried out this weapon since the patch, it's back. It's back like it was at the beginning of the game, and it's so ridiculously good. The fact that you can outgun an FFAR, or you can outgun a KN-44 with this weapon at long range, just simply isn't fair whatsoever. And I guess technically I probably should have included the Pharaoh in the honorable mentions. Just with a burst fire SMG, it's so unpredictable, because if you miss one bullet up close, every gun is going to outgun you, because all of a sudden you have burst delay, and it just causes so many problems. That's why I didn't include the Pharaoh on the list. But overall, that time to kill of the Vesper is just so damn good. It has to be number one now that that recoil is perfectly controllable. So guys, that is it. That is the top 5 weapons after the patch, and I hope you enjoyed. And like I said earlier, if you do, it would be fantastic if you'd leave a like rating. Also, if you're new to the channel, it would be fantastic if you'd hit that subscribe button. And like I said earlier, let me know down in the comment section, what are your 5 favorite weapons in the game, especially after the patch. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of you. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace out.